Hey everybody, I am back. So one of you asked for my Z06's tune. So I think I don't have one like exact tune for this car. I can run multiple different setups, but this is what I got for it. I have a uh rebuilt LS1. It's got these expensive carbon parts, hurricane manifold, this supercharger. Oh my God. My crew is gonna give me a hard time for buying this thing, but I can handle it. So I left pretty much I have the AM Infinity ECU, and I'll explain why I used this part exactly in a moment. I have this Arc Performance exhaust and the Forge Motorsport intercooler. So why do I run these parts for my engine? Basically, from what I've read in the Torque Drift community on Facebook, the LS1, I think it's all of them, they really lack power up top. So supercharger gives me a lot of torque, and I can with this supercharger I can adjust my torque RPM. I can do that with the ECU, but the reason I went with the Forge Motorsport intercooler was because it increased my max torque compared to other intercoolers. I mean, if you add this, you're gonna sacrifice a bit of torque, but your max torque is gonna be higher, and you can run carbon parts and all that, depending on which engine you have. But in rotaries and LS1s, you can use this. If you use this on rotaries, you can actually run gold parts, but that's a video for another day. So I went with this exhaust and this ECU because if I went with the Link ECU and the custom exhaust, I was gonna exceed my max torque, which is 897, and I'm fine with 890 for for this car. So tires, same as my S15. I can use stock tires or Falcons. Uh, Coilovers, I use 443s. But in this car, in the back, I run a 6K stiffness and the lowest spring length possible. And for my wheel dimensions, it's a 40 profile and a 12-inch width. Now, the reason I run a 40 profile is because, like, I have teammates that bottom it out to 4K. I don't really like to bottom my car out, even though it's really low. I mean, it's still stiff in the back and not so soft because I kind of like it when it gets that bit of travel. It's kind of my sweet spot for this car. So alignment, I can run this much toe or 1/8. Camber is pretty much negative 0.50. So differential, uh, everything to the max. Tire pressures, stock. I use stock pressures. I still have to, you know, fine tune my tire pressures to see where I'm at. So moving on to the front, brakes. Sorry, I just still don't know what's the use of brakes here. I just know that if you hit the brakes just once, your RPMs are gonna go down, and depending on which gear you are, getting them up is not gonna be easy. So I found that one thing brakes do is that I just said. So I like to keep the pressure down because it's not gonna slow down the car as much, and I won't be losing a lot of RPMs. So I'm I'm basically using the same settings as the back. The only reason is my alloy is got a 35 profile and an 11-inch width. I can go 12 no problem, but I just like how it handles with 11. So for my front alignment settings, I mentioned I can run this car with multiple settings. So uh, this is one of these settings. Sometimes I can just go as far as using zero toe or 6 degrees of camber with this much caster. I can go 6.5 and 7 degrees of camber, and depending on that, I can increase or decrease my toe. But what what your toe does, it's basically how fast your front steering responds. So sometimes I like no response, or sometimes I just like a slightly faster response. But too much toe in is actually going to sacrifice your straight line speed. So yeah, that's basically what I'm running. And for my body kit, I have stock downforce, the rear track width. I mean, the back tire is wide enough, so it's on the lowest setting possible. And on the front, I just like to leave it as it is because I'm not running a very wide tire compared to the back. Oh, and front tire pressures, same, stock. So, oh, my clutch, it's basically my clutch kick is set to 0.20, and I just left third gear as it is. I mean, the wheel in the back is big enough so it grips up. And my ECU, everything is up to the max. So yeah, let's just test drive this car. Oh, and if you guys want a faster Corvette, just swap in a rotary engine into it. I've seen a lot of guys do it. I've seen a lot of guys have success with that. So yeah, I mean, I've had a bit of success with it on drift shifters. I really have to turn on the vibration when I'm recording myself, because it kind of gets hard to drive without this. See that? I just like this layout because of that backwards entry I can put down. Well, didn't give my best, but it's how it handles. So yeah, I mean, I've been really busy with battling people and getting money. Of course, now I'm broke because I bought some parts, but this is what I'm working on now. I've had this S13 for a while. It was just everything was stock. I just didn't know what to do with it. So if you'd like to see how this is set up, you can comment down below. And if actually, if you want to see me build something else, you can also comment on that. I'm actually working on this Miata right now, and I'm waiting on the turbo to arrive. And yeah, so see you on the next one.